Hi, everybody. Welcome to Feng Shui Your Brain and Your Home in One Day. I'm your host, Dr. Mike McGovern, the founder of Wellness University. You're in senior year of Wellness University, class number 3, and I hope it feels amazing to be here. You're almost done. One step closer to that diploma, the free T-shirt, the coffee mug, the whole 9 yards. The real reason that we're in this, though, not possessions, but just greater happiness and greater joy. So thanks for joining me to see how you can feng shui your brain and your home in one day. And so, Feng Shui, the ancient art of harmonizing a space and balancing um, objects in the space like furniture with everything else, color, lighting, basically, Feng Shui, the ancient art of how to make you feel like $1,000,000 when you're in a room that's designed in a way that speaks to your soul. And so I think we've kind of all seen really wonderful home design shows and the final products that we can get from those, and just the wonderful and beautiful types of architecture that can be built and things like that. And I think some of us at all times in our life, or different times in our life, we've all sort of gone through some visualizing, like, hey, what would my house be like, my dream house in my perfect life. And we get these images, or we see stuff on TV that we really like. We go, ooh, I like that, I like that. And so but we forget, though, that we can make ourselves feel like $1,000,000 in our own space, both in our home and in our mind and our brain. And so we're going to talk about that in this webinar, and how you can create that room that makes you feel like $1,000,000 when you're in it, without breaking the budget or having to up and move to a totally different house or location or something like that. I think that's infinitely valuable. So we'll have some fun today. One of the ways that you are going to learn how to feng shui your home and your brain in one day is to really absorb the full meaning of this quote. St. Francis of Assisi: start by doing what is necessary. And if you're like me and you're a typical human being that likes to get ahead of themselves, no doubt you've already read the rest of this quote without me reading it to you. But sometimes, as humans, we get ahead of ourselves, and then we get overwhelmed, and we are holding too many thoughts in our head, juggling it around, trying to keep all these balls in the air. And we forget what's important, as we're too busy doing what we feel is urgent. So I've got to encourage you to go back to the first line of this quote and just read that. That's where it all starts. Start by doing what is necessary. Don't even go any further than that. Just do what you need to do. Get her done. Do what you need to do. Step one in this case of feng shuiing our brain and our home in one day is to clean. It's only after that first initial clean that we can get past into the fun stuff, the organization and the feng shui, the design of the space, the cultivation of the emotion that goes into that space when we're in it, making it just feel amazing. So step one for cleaning, you got to look around. Look around in your environment and try to identify things that don't suit you anymore. Go through your wardrobe, go through your clothes, and say, what just really isn't current anymore? What isn't me anymore? And start to let some of that stuff go, and just continually try to minimize what you have in certain regards, to allow more to come in from the outside of what you want. Because undoubtedly, there are things that you have, and then there are things that you want. And the things that you want are just things that you'd like to have. And we have our limits, each and every one of us, to how much we can have at any one time, at any given point in time. And if we're already at full capacity, if that gas tank just can't hold anymore, then we're going to stop pouring into it. We're going to stop manifesting the things in our life that we really want, because we're already overflowing with things that we have. Maybe we're overflowing with things that we have because we have stuff that we don't need. We have stuff that we don't want. We have stuff that's not really us anymore. And, but for whatever reason, we're unable to let it go. And it seems to me as I know people who just have so much, but yet they're the ones that seem to want even more. And they set up a lot of unhappiness for themselves with this approach. And I think if they would go through the belongings that they already had and start to purge, start to minimize, start to prioritize, um, they'd realize how much they already have. And then their gratitude score would go up like 150 points. So step one, like look around your house, look around your room, look around your dining room or your kitchen or your bedroom or your bathroom, or look around a closet or a drawer and just look around. Just start looking around your house and noticing things. It's the objects that you walk past every single day that you don't even notice anymore, and the people that you walk past every single day that you don't even notice anymore, that I'm asking you to notice now in this step. Start by doing what is necessary. I'm asking you to look around and pay attention. In a few minutes, we're going to talk about how to feng shui your brain. But before we can just jump into the mind, we have to address the body, we have to address the physical level, because it is the reality that we live in. I used to love to run around and just be a dreamer, my head in the clouds all the time, not really paying attention to where I was going, who I was bumping into. And so we just have to kind of get past that. We have to start looking around again. We have to start giving gratitude again. It's when we step away from gratitude that we start to cultivate feelings of negativity instead of positivity. And a big way to bring us back to center and help us find our foundation for happiness, if there was one, it would probably be gratitude. And the best way I know of to cultivate an attitude of gratitude, as they say, is to look around. Look around you. Just look. You'll start noticing things that are a little bit out of place. And the problem solving mind in your human brain will automatically start putting things back into place if you let it. What if you were moving into a small house tomorrow? Which of your objects would make the final cut? If you were having a decision making on each item in your house before it got packed into a box, before it got thrown out, before it got donated or given to a loved one or a relative or a complete stranger, you would go through your house, and for every single object in your house, you would decide whether or not it was going to come with you if you were going to move into a small house tomorrow. These are some pictures on this slide of some really amazing small houses that have sort of captured my imagination and desire over the last couple of weeks. And I really am just really drawn to houses and like that 800 to 1200 square foot range that are just perfectly laid out, perfectly designed for optimal functionality and aesthetic. And so I've just been doing some Google image searches lately, and it's really got me thinking a lot about um, minimalism. Maybe you got 150 books in your house, and you go through them, and realistically, you only want to keep, like, if you had to make a decision, you're going to leave the country and never come back, and the world was ending, or you're going to be stranded on a desert island, I don't know, and you had to pick like 25 books, could you do it? And if not, if you have hundreds or thousands of books and you can't bear to part with all of them, then you have two options. Either number one, Explore the emotional, psychological reasons of why you can't let those books go. Or number two, make sure that you got enough space for them in your new place that you're moving to. But so just really terrific and amazing and wonderfully aesthetically designed small house floor plans coming out these days, and more and more and more as around the world we're starting to shift our idea of what a quote unquote better life is for us, where it used to be a bigger house. Now it seems to be more about a better house, better laid out, better constructed, better location, better floor plan, better flow, better storage, whatever. Bigger isn't always better anymore. We're starting to think differently now. We're starting to think about collectively, how can I get by with less? Fewer possessions means fewer headaches, lower electrical bills. A smaller house means I don't have to walk as far from the bedroom to the kitchen. We're just really thinking differently now as a society and as a collective consciousness, and it's just awesome. It's awesome. I'm really excited and enthusiastic about the direction that the world is headed right now. So, step two, once you've looked around and you've cleaned up and you've taken everything in, now you finally get to start organizing. So, you've already sort of consciously, subconsciously begun your organization process. If you started looking around at different objects and saying, this would come with me in a small house and this would not, you've already started organizing in that fashion. And what you can do is you can go through your house, one drawer, one closet, and before you know it, one house at a time, and everything becomes well organized. And after a while, after a certain tipping point of organization is reached, I believe somehow it just snowballs from there, and the rest of the organization practically takes care of itself as you become an expert organizer. You just got to get the snowball rolling. So just pick a drawer or a closet in your home and just go through it and say, look at every single object that's in there and say, would this make the final cut if I had to move into a small house tomorrow? If the answer is yes, is this object in its optimal location? And if the answer is yes, then it gets to stay. And if the answer to those first two are no, it's not coming with me to the small house, or no, it's not in the optimal location, then you got to do something with it. And you just go through your house, one drawer, one closet, before you know it, one house at a time, and you will practically have organized your entire life. It's hard to get it started. It's hard to get the snowball rolling, but I promise you that a dedication to doing this one simple exercise and these two simple steps can change your life forever. If you can just dedicate and commit yourself to it over a period of time, making a little bit of forward progress, a little bit of forward movement that we talk about constantly, like the snail or the turtle that eventually, wins the race slowly and steadily. So too, we should be in life at times, just a little bit of movement here and there, just a tiny little effort. Just roll over on the couch and then swing your legs off and then elbow yourself up into a seated position. And then take a deep breath and then blow the deep breath out as you stand up, and then place one foot forward and walk into the kitchen, open the refrigerator door, grab that drink. See how easy life can be. There is a mind-body connection to the Feng Shui of weight loss. There's a psychology as you purge items that don't suit you anymore, as you start to let go of the past, as you start to let go of your old identity, the clothes that you used to wear, the perfume that you used to use, are these things still you, or are they not? And what can you do to let them go? Finally, after you get done doing what's necessary, we get to move on to the fun stuff. This is the really, 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 really fun part, where you get to start looking at Feng Shui books. We've got some really good ones in the Wellness University store, including Feng Shui Your Life, design magazines, design TV shows, Google image searches. If you just do a Google image search for small houses or prefabricated small houses that basically show up to your plot of land in a box, and a construction crew is paid to come in and assemble your house in a box, and it's very affordable and very cool. And the number of floor plans of small houses are just growing right now. And so a Google image search for small houses will really turn your head around and make you think, holy crap, could I really live in a 800 to 1200 square foot house? Wow. It'll just change your whole brain, your whole way of thinking about the world and looking at the world. And sometimes that's a good thing, a little fresh perspective, a little excitement to shake things up, to rekindle the fire, you know. I forget who it was, maybe Thomas Edison, who said, thinking new thoughts is one of the best uses of your time. So, how to feng shui your brain? Let's say you only have 100 attention units that you get to spend on certain thoughts at any given time. So, at any given moment in time. So, right now, as you're sitting here listening to this webinar and you're absorbing it, is your mind solely on the webinar right now? Or are you kind of texting on the side with the phone? Or do you have kids in the background? Like, how many of your 100 attention units are being spent on this? And how many are in other places? And if they're in other places, what are you spending them on? And what are you spending your attention units on when you're driving to work in the morning or commuting to work in the morning? Even if work is your home office. So where are you spending your attention units as you're working out? Where are you spending your attention units when you're in that meeting? And where do you spend your attention units while you're eating your food? What are you spending your attention units on? The way to feng shui your brain and rewire your whole being for happiness, which is what we're really all about. How many of those arms up in the air, oh my God, moments in our life can we cultivate for ourselves? And just on a regular basis, we have to feng shui our brain. We have to rewire our brain for happiness so we can have more happiness. So we got to feng shui it. One of the best ways to do this in one day is to make a list and start tallying it up. So every time a different thought jumps into your head, write it on the list and give it a check mark. And then the next time that a variation of that same thought pops into your head later in the day, give it another tally mark. And at the end of the day, see how see where you're spending your attention units. It's really cool. And you'll be like, oh my God, I am spending so much time being upset that my house isn't clean that I just can't get it off my brain. And then just kind of take a look and see, is this really what you want to be spending your mental energy on? Or do you want to solve these problems and go on to solving other problems like planning a vacation or something like that? It's up to you. Are you going to do what's important or what's urgent?